This is the iBuyer Experiment Podcast, how technology is changing real estate, with your hosts, Kayla Leos, Jason Leos, Keith Howard, and Elliot Tomaszewski. Please consider subscribing so you're notified when we launch new podcasts. Let's go.
You are not going to want to miss today's episode, and you will be all caught up on the latest headlines. We are talking about EasyKnock and their brand new program, which allows sellers to sell their home and lease back. We are also talking about Opendoor and the recent news of going public. We're going to be talking about NAR and some recent stats that show just how realtors feel holding open houses and some other great stuff. And we're also going to hit on Realogy and the CEO's new comments about the digital real estate experience. Let's kick it off, Jason.
All right. Well, yeah, we got EasyKnock. Just came out just a few hours ago. They're debuting their new lease back program, and it's called Release. And it lets the homeowners sell their houses and then lease them back for an indefinite period of time. So that means like forever?
I know. That's kind of crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess they are doing this program. It's available for homeowners in Florida, Michigan, Arizona.
They want to rival American Homes for Rent or something, apparently.
Yeah. Colorado, North Carolina, Tennessee, Utah, Texas, and Georgia.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's available
a lot of
markets.
Places. There's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 markets. So.
Yeah, cool. I knew that we knew that they were going to come up with a program like that, but there was never an official release date. So it's interesting that it's out because they just said that the main reason they wanted to do that was homeowners want to have some type of access to their equity, but they necessarily don't always want to move. So now it gives them the opportunity to get a portion of their equity and they lease it back. And then whenever they are ready to sell and move out, they can, finish cashing out at that market of the moment. So it's pretty cool, but it's just, it's got to work.
Yep. And they're also saying that it could be useful at a time when the economy is in crisis during the coronavirus pandemic. Like people maybe
uncertainty,
need to be making their bills or staying in their home and taking out the equity to make their lease payments.
Well, and if you're sitting in Maricopa County, Arizona, and you recently have 14% appreciation, you're going, dang, my house is now worth quite a bit. But if I sell, where do I go? Because, wow, we are talking multiple offers on just about everything right now. And so this could be a great opportunity for those who want to cash out and just kind of stay put and see what the market does.
Well, and that's on top of roughly 7% appreciation that happened in 2019. So you're roughly 21% in the last 18, 20 months. That's crazy.
That's
boom.
Yeah, I think we're going to see a lot of homeowners hitting the cash out button.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder what that person, a year and a half ago that thought, the market's going to go down. I'm going to wait.
Yeah.
We keep hitting
that.
They are sitting in an apartment with higher rent.
I know.
I've seen some of these.
I'm going to wait for the next downturn before I buy.
2-3 bedrooms at $1,500, $1,800 a month.
It's insane. Yeah. A 3-bedroom apartment for $1,800 here.
Yep.
It's insane.
Rent has skyrocketed, right? And that's the funny thing. Like even in the downturn of let's just say 6 to 10. I mean, rents, they pretty much stayed stable. They didn't fall like how the housing prices did. So that's one of the things that's always so unique in that environment is because I'm curious. So if another bubble, pops and happens and rents stay high, I don't know.
Easy. That's a question. EasyKnock. I wonder what.
I guarantee that's what the play is.
What the lease amount is going to be. That's the question here with this program called Release. So as soon as we find out, we'll let everybody know.
So if they make fair market offers and if they give you fair market rent, then it should be a very attractive option for people.
Should be. And I don't know how they'll be able to do that though, because some of these homes are pretty expensive.
Well, but I think the disconnect is going to be how does EasyKnock get into the hearts and minds of the consumer? And so something that I've been really impressed with what EasyKnock has done is they've allowed real estate agents such as ourselves, such as our brokerage, JK Realty, and we're also promoting the program on Zoodealio. They've allowed us to push these programs to our clients. So they're very open platform based.
Yeah, they're one of the most synergistic, extremely funded ventures out there, right? I mean, I forget what they're backed with, like $250+ million, I know, but they are absolutely agent centric. So that's that's their driving force of
pretty cool.
of what does things. Yeah. So
it is pretty cool. So, well, another big headline that broke today, and I found it early this morning, and I was super like, what?
crazy.
Because we just talked about this last week.
Yeah.
Opendoor is going public via a merger. So what happened is they're being acquired through a blank check company. And essentially what happens is this company is led by venture investors, and the venture investors basically are going to give Opendoor $1 billion cash.
That's 9 figures.
$1 billion, huh?
Including
9 figures.
it's a lot of dough, that's all I know, including $600 million from investors such as BlackRock. And essentially what's going to happen is within about 2 years, both of the companies will merge and go public. So this is going to be a really interesting turn of events for Opendoor, and I'm really excited to see how this plays out. Elliot, last week you had mentioned that you thought maybe they wouldn't go public because they wanted to keep their books private. What are your thoughts now?
Well, COVID. I really think, honestly, like if I'm just, my opinion, I think that COVID happened. I think that caused a massive shuffle with, where they got caught with a lot of property on their books, didn't know what to do.
If they would have just held on to it for 2 months,
oh my gosh. Yeah, well, and they unloaded. I mean, when you look at the dynamics that happen, right? I mean, we all know, again, we had our own theories about how they had developed their in-house valuation software and how they, that's where a lot of the layoffs had come from, is because their software had gotten to a certain point to where they just didn't need all the bloated employee. Well, there's that, but then they also, I mean,
because they fired 30% of their employees, right?
Yeah, they did.
Well, my gut when I saw this is I said to Jason, I'm like, they need cash.
That's what I was getting at.
And their competitor,
that's what I was getting at.
Competitor was Zillow. So
right.
Zillow was getting
and Zillow's connected to the never-ending fountain of public money.
So they got to get in on this.
The opening shares were $15.68. I saw on something like that you sent. So
that's just the
opening, what the IPO is supposed to open at. So
supposed to. It always changes.
2 years. This won't happen straight away, but it's coming. It's coming, Keith.
Yeah. Hey, blank check company, if you are listening to this, we don't need $1 billion, but we need a couple million of seed funding. Come on, that's nothing. Come on, you got us. We got you.
If you're a blank check company out there, we want to talk.
Zoodealio is waiting for you.
Well, hey, we have a bigger sales force potentially. 1.4 active million real estate agents, and that's National Association of Realtors, and 2 million active real estate agents in America.
Crazy.
It's quite a sales force.
Super crazy. I wonder if Opendoor is going to maintain kind of their quality control, because they've really kind of set the standard for what these iBuyers look like. And so once they go public, and Wall Street, I mean, they were already backed by SoftBank, which is essentially Wall Street money. But
Lennar.
At this point, what's going to happen? What's going to happen to their quality control?
Well, I think they're going to lose a little bit of it. Sure.
Well, so it's kind of funny that we're talking about that merger. Check this statistic out, and honestly, it kind of makes sense. They needed a new direction to go. Based on this statistic, it would make total sense why they did this. This is from HousingWire.com. The second quarter was a tough for one iBuyers, as only 0.1% of homes sold across 418 metros. Only 880 homes total were bought in the second quarter by the top iBuyers of Redfin, Zillow, Opendoor, and OfferPad, according to Redfin.
Less than
that's
1,000?
national. Yeah, less than national numbers.
Second quarter.
And think about how many of those happened here.
418.
And they got billions of dollars. Like, what are they? Yeah.
So
here locally is like the only markets that they opened in. Remember that when they started opening back up, they pretty much, it was here. I know Zillow opened up in only 3, 4, 5 markets, one of them being here. And however, with that said, their numbers here, as we looked just a couple weeks ago, were actually, Zillow's numbers were really good.
I mean, how much is that? Because the consumer is realizing, hey, the market's going up. I'm not going to sell my house to Opendoor when I can get an offer within. I get multiple offers within a couple of days. So
it was a combination of factors, because they just straight up weren't offering anymore.
Right.
They kind of just
frozen.
right.
Well, their offer freeze was what, almost 60 days? I mean, it was a long time. I would say it was through the heart of COVID. Yeah, I mean, it was. That's what it. If memory serves me, that's around what it was.
I just love the agility of these companies and the ability to just kind of pivot and move and, find angles. It's really fascinating and exciting, and
especially for what massive ships they are. A lot of times, these companies, it's hard for them to pivot, but it's the ability for them to pivot, through their technology and through their platforms. It's really revolutionizing the way I think a lot of, startup, or, I guess they're no longer startups, but I mean, these big conglomerate companies operate.
Well, it begs the question, because, Zillow wasn't founded by real estate agents and Opendoor wasn't founded by real estate agents. And so do outside individuals think better about the process than real estate agents? Right? Because, realtors haven't been able to come up with a plan that excites and delights consumers like Zillow offers and Opendoor has.
Well, hey, let's not forget about OfferPad and Brian Bayer. He's a realtor.
If you like a sweater vest. But we're not talking about Brian Bayer,
and
though.
Super Bowl commercials.
No, but seriously, though, these, I don't know, just when you really think about housing, and maybe they're able to pivot because they just think so differently about it all. And I don't know, one of the reasons I love you guys all so much is that we all kind of are able to reimagine the way real estate can be sold without being threatened by it. I think what happens is when you start to reimagine something, if you've been entrenched in that, then you can feel very insecure about your current position. Whereas we can say, you know what, it's great. I mean, we're all selling homes and we're all doing a lot of things the traditional way, but we also can see that there's a new way and a better way. And if we adopt these technologies, it'll really serve us and not only our business, but our clients. So it's pretty exciting.
Yeah. I love the efficiency that we're developing and just continuing to grow upon.
Yeah, so it's kind of cool to see the numbers, because, what does 880 homes mean? Well, if you just talk about, or look from actually what they spent this year compared to last year, it's an 88% drop compared to the second quarter of last year. They only spent $195 million in the second quarter of this year versus $1.6 billion in the second quarter of 2019. Right. And these are based on Redfin's reports on MLS and public records. And we kind of knew this, but
so when
their offers were more
conservative
down too, right? That was the other thing too. Is they
hit a brick wall.
Well, right. Yeah. Well, I mean, we knew that during the shutdown that they had canceled contracts and stuff, but we didn't know exactly what those numbers.
Paid to vacate contracts.
Yeah. So it says Opendoor pulled offers and laid off 35% of its staff, and Redfin furloughed 41% of its agents during that. So
yeah, because they were all those cool salary agents.
Yes.
And these are stats from September 11th. So we knew that the numbers were big. We heard about it, but until you start seeing the percentages, the numbers, the closings, you're like, whew. So a merger makes sense. How do we pivot? Just like you said, what's the next step? What's the next direction? A $6 billion deal.
Well, I mean, cash is king, right? Like, so again, with them having more money, it pulls out, it almost removes the ejection button. That was the biggest thing that did surprise me even with all the investor, money that they were operating with Opendoor, there's no question. They pressed the ejection button fast. I mean, it was literally 2-3 weeks into COVID, it was borderline panic. Right? From a lot of
it turned out to be a bad move, because
it did turn out to be a bad move.
They would.
Well, we don't know the cost.
I guess I don't know what the holding
right.
cost.
We don't know what their cost is to hold, and
we have an idea.
14% increase in home values over
the
last 3-4 months.
It's probably higher than that now.
Well, and I'll just share it.
This year, okay.
My resources of their cost of money for all of them is right around 6%, right? So like their debt lines that they're running is a 6% cost of money.
6% over what? Over 3 months, 6 months, a month.
Yeah. So it's like an interest only
property.
Yeah, right. It's an interest only situation, 6%.
Oh. Okay. Hold the debt. Yep.
No matter how we slice and dice it, it's really crazy and interesting, and I'm just super excited that we get to be a part of all of this and kind of watch it go down.
Yes.
Right. And see the real estate industry
Well-
just continue to change.
Right.
Well, and I love the term "watch it go down," but I mean, again, there's a reason why we've been slaving away for the last, roughly 2 years now, and I don't want to watch it anymore. I want to spearhead, some of these changes, and really start to empower these agents and, be the forefront, be a thought leader, be, providing some inspiration, some ability, some continuity back to these agents' business. Let's remove the fear mongering. Right, that was what went on from 2015 to really 2018 for a lot of agents is iBuyers suck, their offers, this and that. It was just all they could do was bash
fear.
them.
It's
right,
fear,
right.
and
All they would do is
and
bash them.
If they have a product that is equal to that, then they can compete.
Yeah, and based on
what
results, the
Zoodealio does.
consumer wants that, right? Because here's the other thing too. Not a lot of the viewers may know this, but with an acceptance rate of only 5% and the numbers that they still did pre-pandemic, think about how many consumers are raising their hand to try to start to that point. The demand for that product is like nothing we've ever seen before.
Because it's easy.
Right.
And we all want the easy button, but I think as savvy consumers, we all know that when something's easy, that you're going to pay a price for it. And so you want to know the price you're going to pay to have that easy option.
Yeah.
And so why not have it front and center? And so, it's the iBuyer offer is the new Zestimate.
It absolutely is.
So that's a good segment into what you're going to talk about, Elliot, is the Realogy chief. Is that
Yeah.
something pretty interesting
Yeah.
today? All right, did we miss?
Yeah. Let's
Well, speaking of fear, and realtors, just listen to this statistic and see if you relate to this or not. I personally don't, but there are the horror stories out there. NAR, 31% of realtors feel they are unsafe at open houses. 27% said they feel unsafe when meeting a client for the first time at a scheduled location at property. And it says about half of realtors carry a weapon or a tool of self-defense. Report finds.
Okay, so they're not fearful of the virus. They're fearful of violence.
Yeah. So what's interesting is
I wonder what the underlying is behind that, like you said.
Yeah, I was thinking that it was
Are
a
they-
virus.
yeah.
but
yeah
you're
no
talking about violence
for
from all these
people
riots. Okay.
just meeting new clients and
when you see all this stuff
on
having
the news,
news,
some
people
validity
coming
behind
into
that.
an open house and are they by themselves and
Whoa, wait a sec, because I'm the only female here, and 64% of realtors are female. So you got to think here. And
Yep.
the average age of a realtor is 55.
Mm-hmm.
So these are 55-year-old females that are holding open houses and meeting clients. I'm actually surprised that it's not higher than 31% of realtors.
Well, I think a
feeling
weapon in that
unsafe.
circumstance is totally just, right? Or a way to self-defend yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm all for that. And I'm all for realtors. There's really cool apps now that even Supra came out with a new functionality on our e-key that allows you to essentially hit the panic button. And if you hit the panic button, it will notify your emergency contact of your location and where you are. And so I think that 31% of realtors feeling unsafe at open houses, I get it. And I have so much empathy for us out there, because think about it. We are putting ourselves out there. We are meeting people. We don't know who they are. We don't know their story. We don't know their intentions. Most realtors are scared to get pre-qualification letters because they want the deal so bad they don't want to scare someone off. And so they're just willing to put themselves in these kind of like high-risk situations just to make a buck.
Yeah.
and speaking of if you think that number might be or should be higher, the only thing this report doesn't say, which, what is there, 1.4 million actual NAR members, something like that? So how many people did they survey? 500?
Such a good point.
10,000?
So
So,
valid. I didn't get the survey.
This number could be higher if they surveyed a couple 100,000.
I wonder what
realtors.
I wonder what the body of the survey is.
So I don't know what it is, but
Good point.
it's still interesting to see because honestly, I didn't really know that perspective because I never really thought about it or felt too threatened or in harm's way, but that could be the difference of being a male realtor versus a female realtor and being out there by yourself. So
Yeah, I think so. And I also think, though, that we've, like I said, we've really wisened up that this is a real fear for realtors. And I think that as you can, you said how many carry a weapon or self-defense?
said about half.
Yeah. Wow. That's That's pretty crazy.
Well, I mean, that's the cool part about these real estate technology companies, and I think Elliot will be able to dovetail off of this is, we have our contactless listing that we're building within the Zoodealio platform that gives the ability for a realtor and a homeowner to not meet each other face to face if they want to, don't want to, because the technology and communication is going to be so great. There's not always that. And you have those virtual open houses, people buying houses out of state, from California and other places where it's kind of out of control at the moment. So it is happening. However, there's a CEO that thinks otherwise, huh?
Yeah, good old Ryan Schneider over at Realogy. That guy, he came out recently and said that he does not believe that the real estate space is going to go entirely digital, which, I actually agree. I don't think, for somebody that thinks that they're going to completely or 100% of the time completely, right? I mean, that's a obviously robust, complete word. And to, do all of your home tours through 3D Matterports or virtual walk through those types of things. At some point in time, the house has to become tangible, right? Home is where the heart is. It smells, it feels, it has personality, right? Like you can't always see up and down your block. There's some things, like I said, that there becomes a time that after you do your due diligence, you do your research, you've checked this box, check this box, check this box. You have to go and put your hands on the actual property. So I think he's got a point there, and I would imagine that that's going to be what kind of what he was saying. With that said, again, we have. One of our biggest and best creations I think that we have going for us is the actual click-to-list platform, right? It's like something that we have created that's being introduced to the marketplace as we speak, where a homeowner can completely sell their house from start to finish online. And of course, if the agent chooses to go meet them in the property, they can. If the agent chooses to never meet them, or the client, it's obviously got to be a reciprocal decision. But that is now an entire environment and platform where they can literally list, sell, complete the transaction without ever meeting your client. And here's the coolest part of it. The efficiency, the experience, and the customer service is going to increase exponentially on what we build, just because everything's tracked, traced, the communication platforms, activity logs, marketing, all kinds of just cool stuff that we have going on inside that, and we are excited for you agents to get your hands on it out there. You made me think when you were just talking a second ago, like, I could totally see these agents, when is this, like, I'm going to start showing up to open house with my dog and stuff like that because of you and all your little dogs and stuff like that. Could you imagine people kind of start going there and you have dogs inside the house, or
a dog open house party?
That'd be funny.
Yeah.
Come on in, bring your dog.
Yeah, and bring lots of cleaning supplies.
That's funny.
I think that, just hold open houses with a buddy, I
love buddy system.
Yeah, a lot of times I know that realtors don't necessarily want to hold an open house with someone else because maybe it's a hassle coordinating it, or they don't want to split, clients. They want all of the opportunities themselves, whatever it might be. But if you don't feel safe, then find a way around it.
You could do more then, though, because it's half the work, right?
Well, and I always believed in, like, the super open house thing. I mean, back in the day, when you're going to do it, let's do it, right? Like, where you had to do it with your team. You have 2 houses that are open inside the subdivision. You're doing it with a bunch of signs. You're trying to bounce, people off the 2 houses. You're working, you do it with a 2-story, a single story, one that's a little bit bigger, one that's a little bit smaller. So you have all kinds of different things. And again, if you just go at it from a work smarter, not harder type environment, that gives you security, that gives you better lead conversion, and it just gives you more of a synergistic environment. So again, I think that those are the types of things that our industry needs more of, right? Everybody wants to always, act like they have this secret sauce and they got these private little cards sometimes that they're holding the best hand. But the reality of it is, together we achieve more, bottom line. And so I think all of us are sitting in this room.
So I think that, you're right. But what I've noticed, and I don't know what you guys think, at least in our market, doesn't it seem like there are less open houses?
Heck yeah.
I don't see signs. I mean, it has been hot. It's been really, really hot.
Well, and houses are selling in hours,
You don't really
not
need
even
them.
days.
Yeah, you don't really need them.
But the agents that are holding them are getting amazing
right,
success.
they're meeting new
And
buyers.
there's the new rule too, right? Where you can't advertise it for more than 24 hours. So
Sure, we've got that, but you could have it in coming soon status and
and hold an open house. That's still advertising.
actually no, yeah, you're right, you cannot. But even still though, you could list it on a Friday and hold it open Saturday and Sunday.
Nothing's requiring you to accept
Still
an offer
102
within
degrees out.
within the first day, right?
I think we're talking weather right now.
60-second warning.
All right, guys. Well, I think that's it, right?
We
Good?
are coming to the conclusion.
All right.
Great talking with you all today.
Yep, thanks for tuning in.
Wrong one. Jay's got to press the right button.
Hey, so if there
Hold
is
on,
a
guys.
topic you'd like us to digest,
That was a fail.
nah, it's all good, man. It's all good. We're just gonna end this. Bye.
And cut.
We truly appreciate you taking the time to be with us here today on the iBuyer Experiment podcast. Please remember to like and subscribe so that you're notified when we launch a new podcast. We'll catch you on the next one.
Show you the money.